Welcome back, thrill seekers. Are you ready for a spine-chilling journey into the dark corners of Christmas lore? We've got a true Christmas scary story that'll make your silent night a little more mysterious. The phrase you're referring to is, "Peace on earth, goodwill to all men." It's commonly associated with the holiday season. I've always liked the idea, similar to how one might wish to win the lottery or an endless supply of beer. However, the reality, as I've learned from working as a homicide detective for nearly 15 years, is that crime doesn't take a break during Christmas. People remain people, and unfortunately, they continue to cheat, rob, and harm each other, even on what's supposed to be the most peaceful day of the year. During my time as a homicide detective, it seemed like more than half the Christmas days I worked involved being called to a crime scene. Despite the holiday's intention of peace and goodwill, there's something about this time of year that brings out the worst in some people. Whether it's the influence of alcohol, the cold weather, or the pressure to create happiness, the cracks in people's lives become more apparent during the holidays. I recall one case from the early 2000s that exemplifies this. My partner and I arrived at a nice house on the North Shore. It had 4 bedrooms, all decorated for the holidays. However, the scene was grim. A woman lay in the driveway with 3 wounds around her neck and shoulders. It was a tragic situation that seemed to be a result of the pressures and challenges that can intensify during the holiday season. The front door was open, and as we entered, we found the husband lying on his back with a single wound under his chin. The gruesome scene had his brains splattered across the ceiling and floor. The beautifully decorated home, which could have easily been a Christmas card, now had scattered evidence of a horrifying incident. As we carefully collected and analyzed photographs scattered across the carpeted rooms, it became clear what had happened. The images showed screenshots of text messages, emails, and other proof of marital infidelity. It turned out that the wife was having an affair, and on Christmas morning, the husband discovered the betrayal. He confronted her with all the evidence, wrapped up like a dark gift with a big red and white bow. She attempted to escape, but the husband, armed and ready, shot her before she could make it halfway up the driveway. In a tragic turn of events, he then turned the gun on himself once he realized the gravity of his actions. At first glance, it seemed like a straightforward case fueled by a cheating spouse. However, as we went through the process of gathering evidence, we started noticing some unsettling inconsistencies. To begin, as is often the case in modern homicide investigations, we tried to locate the cell phones of both the deceased and the victim. In cases that aren't entirely impulsive, a person's phone can be a goldmine of evidence. Whether it's searching for information on disposing of a body or sending threatening messages, checking the phone can reveal crucial details about the crime. We also needed to check the printouts against what was on the wife's phone, but it became clear that neither the husband's nor the wife's cell phones were anywhere to be found. We considered the possibility that the husband might have hidden or disposed of the phones to prevent his wife from seeking help. Despite searching the entire house thoroughly, we couldn't locate either phone. This led us to seek assistance from local cell carriers to track and locate the phones. For those curious about how it works, here's a simple explanation. In your area, there are several cell phone towers. When your phone is turned on, it communicates with the closest tower to send and receive data. These cell phone towers store data from these digital conversations, which can help track and find the location of a phone. Your phone doesn't communicate with just one tower. It talks to several at the same time. This means that if law enforcement or someone else wants to find you, they can not only figure out your general location, but also use triangulation to determine your position with an accuracy of a few hundred yards, even if you turn your phone off before committing a crime. We can use the last known location of your phone as a starting point for an investigation. These pings not only help us determine the phone's general location, but also tell us the time it was at a specific place before being switched off. Here's where we found the second inconsistency. We estimated that the couple's time of death was between 6:30 and 7 in the morning. A neighbor mentioned hearing what seemed like gunshots around 6:45 a.m., but they thought it was someone testing something Santa had given them. They heard 3 to 4 shots but didn't hear screams or sirens, so they went back to sleep. According to them, this was around the time both the husband and wife passed away, likely by 7 a.m. or 7:15 at the latest. However, our investigation faced a puzzling twist. The last ping from both their cell phones was recorded just before 8 a.m. In simpler terms, how could two deceased individuals turn off their phones after their deaths? This discovery completely changed our perspective, suggesting that a third person must have been present at the crime scene. Sometimes people witness things they shouldn't, and out of fear or other reasons, they choose not to talk about it. In this case, it seemed like a third person was present at the scene when both phones stopped communicating with the cell towers. This raised alarming possibilities. After the tragic event, someone not only walked over the deceased bodies but also turned off their phones and took them away, for reasons we couldn't understand. We anticipated more surprises in the story, and they didn't take long to unfold. Initially, the ballistics analysis seemed straightforward. The gun in the husband's hand matched the one used to shoot his wife and himself. There was powder residue on his chin and the gun's muzzle, indicating it had been fired at point-blank range. His fingerprints were found on the trigger and the pistol's grip, but our ballistics experts noticed something suspicious. The fingerprints on the grip were fainter than those on the trigger, indicating that he did pull the trigger, but with an unusually soft hold on the gun. While it's not impossible to fire a gun like that, it raised questions because he should have had gunshot residue on his shooting hand if he shot himself in that manner. This discovery officially turned the case into a homicide. It was a small detail that might have been overlooked in a less thorough investigation, but we didn't miss it. As I mentioned, it completely changed our understanding of the crime scene. Choosing Christmas morning for a double murder showed a twisted kind of cunning. If a murder happens in a city apartment, even on Christmas Day, you'll likely have plenty of witnesses by the end of the day. However, killing two people at 6:45 on Christmas morning in the suburbs is a different story. The best we had was someone who heard the shots, but no one was awake to witness anything significant. Adding to the challenge, the killer left behind no forensic evidence, making them like a ghost. They went as far as using the husband's gun to throw us off the trail. Despite our efforts to understand the situation, we weren't lucky enough to track down the perpetrator. We put in our absolute best effort to identify any suspicious vehicles coming or going into the area. We tried at least half a dozen investigative techniques to figure out who we were dealing with. Unfortunately, every attempt came up empty, and the case eventually went cold. Officially, it's still an open investigation. I've heard that a couple of other detectives took a shot at it, hoping to be the one to solve it. However, just like our efforts, theirs didn't lead to any breakthroughs. Each time, the case gets put aside with the rest of the cold cases, waiting for another ambitious detective to come along and take a crack at it all over again. In my experience, homicide detectives rarely come across contract killers. People usually have specific motives when they kill each other, but it's unusual for someone to murder strangers for a large amount of untraceable money. I find it more disturbing when people kill their relatives or spouses for insurance money. I can almost grasp the idea of harming a stranger, but not my own family for any amount of money. Encountering evidence that hinted at an urban legend was chilling and truly unsettling. It was the only time I witnessed a sophisticated cover-up, one that worked just enough to lead us in the wrong direction, long enough for the killer to escape without consequences. This experience makes me wonder how many other cases involve someone going missing or passing away suddenly, alone or at risk, or possibly even appearing to take their own life. In conclusion, this investigation into a Christmas morning double murder presented a unique and challenging scenario for the detectives involved. The killer managed to escape attention with a sophisticated cover-up, leaving the case unsolved and officially open. The experience raised questions about other cases labeled as accidents or suicides, emphasizing the need for thorough investigations. If you found this video intriguing and want to stay updated on similar content, please hit the like button. Don't forget to share it with others who might be interested, and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories and insights. Ring the bell icon to receive notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Your support is crucial, and we appreciate you being a part of our community. Thanks for watching.